Looks like the Clippers are trying to make a few moves, hopefully some good ones. But let's just go ahead and look into it a little bit further and let's talk about it. Hello, YouTube world. Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. I appreciate you coming out. Please hit the notification bell, the like, subscribe, so you can get the newest and the bonus content we put out every day. And let's go ahead and jump right into what's going on here. I want to talk about the possible signings for the Clippers this offseason. Now, we all know that Kawhi Leonard is in question. We all know, well, pretty much a lot of players on the Clippers are in question. You know, you pretty much can look at every player and say, wow, are they coming back next year? I mean, it's just how it seems. That's just how it looks. It doesn't seem any other way. It doesn't look any other way. That's the way it looks to the naked eye right now. When you look at the situation and look at everything that is transpired, unfolded for this team this season, and after this playoffs that just happened for them, that was a really good playoffs, really impressive one, I might say. But didn't end the way they wanted it to because they had injuries, they had, adversity, they had everything that a lot of teams don't want to have going into a playoffs happen to them. But at the same time, they were very resilient and they played a huge role in being one of the last four teams to be standing and had opportunity to go to the finals, without their best player. And it was really amazing what they done all year long with their best player and, other players on the team and how they rallied together. But when you look at the situation now, we are where we are. And where we are now is trying to figure out what's going to happen or transpire with Kawhi Leonard. But, as far as, the team itself, I think the team is perfectly built the way they are. I think the team is motivated and driven to go in the next season and make a run. I personally think that because of what I saw about the team and what they were made of in the playoffs really, shocked me in some ways. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people as well. But when I talk about the signings, possible signings that they can have this offseason, it's three players that are being talked about right now. And the three players that are being talked about, more or less so, those three players have played with Kawhi Leonard before. And I can tell you this much, if the, Clippers organization and staff can convince Kawhi Leonard, like, hey, we'll bring some players here that you might find to be very interesting that you've played with before that really can help elevate the team and everybody, on the roster as far as a championship type roster. Now, the only question is, like, who would they have to give up? I'm thinking along the lines of players like Luke Kennard. They might not have Boogie next year. It's very possible they might not have Reggie Jackson, which I really find that to be no good because I think Reggie Jackson, it was really good for the team, and especially when he had to step in and pick up the pace, when he was inserted in the starting lineup in the playoffs and, just stepping up big when Kawhi Leonard went out for several games in the playoffs. I mean, you can't really replace a player like that, to me, who played to that level and showed that he is worthy of being on a championship team, elevating his game the way he did. So that's just my opinion on that, Reggie Jackson. But interesting enough, the three players that the Clippers are looking into, one of them was Patty Mills. And I was kind of surprised by the Patty Mills one because I like Patty Mills. I really like what he brings. I like his shooting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Patty Mills could really help this team, as far as not only shooting, but, he's not the best defender, but he plays really hard on defense. So if he replaced anybody on this team, he would replace them with playing hard on defense, being reliable, being a knockdown shooter. And I mean, I think he's right at 40%, close to 40% shooting from the 3-point line, or he's had seasons where he shot really high percentage from the from the 3-point line, and really been an effective player. And he's also good at the free throw line as well, I might add. But he's definitely a player that understands what it means to be in championship, mentality mode. He's definitely a player who comes from a background where championship or bust mentality is the only way to live. And when you look at that, well, that's exactly what Kawhi Leonard likes. He likes players with high basketball IQ. And Patty Mills has a high IQ when it comes to basketball because he's played under Greg Popovich pretty much all his career. Hasn't played for any other team. He's pretty much been there. He's been there the whole time, and he's been a valuable piece. He's been a piece that they've been able to utilize to get further in rounds in the playoffs and knock down big shots. So he's proven that he's capable enough of being a player that the Clippers can use or any team could use in regards to high basketball IQ and knowing, how to play the game of basketball the right way and executing plays the way he needs to. So, and plus, when you look at Patty Mills learning behind Tony Parker, the years that he did, I think that helped elevate his game and help put him in position to be a possible starting point guard in the league, or, at least a very, very, very good backup, for a team who can utilize somebody off the bench who can come in and just, knock down some big shots and open up the floor a little bit more. And I think that would not be a bad pickup for them, pending on, of course, who they let go for him, or if somebody walks from the Clippers and they're able to get Patty Mills in replace of. So another one I think that was very interesting, I always liked, definitely somebody that I think Kawhi Leonard likes the most, always, has been close to him, was Danny Green. I've always said Danny Green is the sidekick for Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi Leonard, he always seemed to play better when he had Danny Green with him. When Danny Green was in San Antonio, those were Kawhi's best days to a lot of people. A lot of people think that that was when Kawhi was at his best in San Antonio, when he played the best, you know what I'm saying? And when you look at Danny Green was that sidekick, sort of. Not maybe like a Robin, but he was kind of like a sidekick to Kawhi Leonard, because he was the only one that could really get to Kawhi Leonard and talk to him. And that was the only player on the San Antonio Spurs, besides maybe one or other, that he was actually close to. And that's the only player that can actually call Kawhi Leonard probably and talk to him and tell him a lot of things, and maybe even possibly give him criticism sometime. And Kawhi Leonard responds and listens to Danny Green. Danny Green is almost like a big brother to Kawhi Leonard, so I feel like that's somebody that's always in his corner. And really, when you look at it, Danny Green really plays to Kawhi's strengths. Kawhi's strength is like mid-post, mid-range. That's where he really likes it. He will, fly out to the three-point line at times to knock down threes, because he can really, Kawhi is a better three-point shooter than what people have given him throughout the years. But Danny Green is that one guy that he always trusts to knock down that corner three, that wide open three at the top of the key, or the elbow three when they needed it. And Danny Green has always hit big shots when called upon, when he's played with Kawhi Leonard. And Danny Green has got pretty good defense still. Even though he's older, he still has pretty good defense. And that's another thing. Kawhi Leonard thrives on players who plays with a high basketball IQ, just like Danny Green does, and plays defense. Danny Green definitely does that. And, his defense is very underrated. I always thought it has been throughout his career, but Danny Green is a valuable piece to a championship team. It's no doubt about that. He's won championships pretty much everywhere he's been. The only team he hasn't won a championship yet with was the 76ers. And but every other team, the Lakers, of course, Toronto and the Spurs, like Danny Green is a high IQ guy, and I'm pretty sure even LeBron would say so. LeBron's played with him like twice in his career. So, Danny Green is definitely somebody that you can look at in regards to, that's one of those type players. If he's right, if he's healthy, if he's playing the way he's supposed to, you can win a championship with somebody like Danny Green, because you could put Danny Green one-on-one with somebody and he will make some defensive plays and he will knock down big threes whenever you need him to, especially in the playoffs. I mean, he has his moments where he doesn't, knock down big threes, but he's had a lot of moments where he has. So, I mean, you got to give him credit there. And he's been in a lot of NBA finals. So, the experience, the championship mentality, and the multiple championships he's won, that's definitely somebody Kawhi Leonard would thrive with again, because that's just him being, he would fit, that would just be Kawhi Leonard feeling like more at home with a player that he trusts. And Kawhi Leonard's big on trust and big on honesty and all that type of stuff. He doesn't like medical staffs lying to him and people undercutting him. Kawhi's just not for that. I mean, as we see. So, having people around that he trusts is going to make him feel more comfortable. And really, if the Clippers were able to, sway Kawhi and say, hey, we have options to get this player, that player, and that player if you stay. And you've played with these players before, and I know you would thrive with them. That would really probably sway Kawhi Leonard to even resign even more. So I think the Clippers definitely ought to look at, Danny Green probably the most as of right now. Now, the third one I thought was very interesting, too, because I did think that there was a really good connection here with Kawhi Leonard and this player. I thought this player here really, brought the best out of Kawhi. And, Kawhi responded really well. And Kawhi loved his toughness and loved his, enthusiasm towards the game, and loved how he played on a defensive end, along with knocking down big shots at times when called upon. I thought it was Kyle Lowry. And Kyle Lowry is one of the three players that the Clippers are looking into as well. Now, we've heard reports about Kyle Lowry being traded to the Clippers maybe about mid-season last year or beginning of last season. So I definitely wasn't, I'm definitely not opposed to this one either. Personally, I think they would be better off with Kyle Lowry than Rondo. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, I know I've went back and forth on that before, because that's a tough one. You're asking, Rondo has won championships in this league. Rondo has been a staple in the NBA as far as his gameplay and how his basketball IQ has evolved year after year and years into his career where he's at now. And he's really played good. But when you look at Rondo, does he really fit with the Clippers? I mean, he has his moments where, he's trying to lead too much. And, then you look at the incident where him and Kawhi, where Kawhi took the last shot. And he, said something to Kawhi for missing the last shot. I don't think that's a good thing. First of all, you can't speak to the best player on the team like that. You wouldn't even be where you are if it wasn't for Kawhi Leonard. You wouldn't even be a championship caliber type team if it wasn't for Kawhi Leonard. Nobody would even look at the Clippers as a contender or anything if Kawhi wasn't there. So I think ever since that happened, that put Rondo in the doghouse, and it really messed him up with the team's chemistry. Now, he did get more playing time when Kawhi went out, but that's because they needed bodies and they needed somebody to go out there and try to contribute, because they needed all they can get. So my thing is this. When I look at Kyle Lowry, there again, he's more of a fit for what the Clippers are trying to accomplish, because he's a more in-control-minded point guard. When you look at somebody like Rondo, he's out of control at times. He has a foul mouth. He comes off kind of like, I don't know, like irritable. Like, a lot of people don't take well to Rondo. That's why Rondo has been on so many teams in the NBA. Seemed like the last several years, from Dallas to Celtics, to Atlanta, to wherever. I mean, he's been on so many teams because a lot of people can't deal with Rondo's attitude. You know what I'm saying? He's a good player, but I mean, is he really worth it in the long run? Maybe you can get one good season out of Rondo and let him go, because pretty much that's what the Lakers did. They got one good, really productive season out of him in the bubble, and they got the championship, and they parted ways with him, basically. So, or he parted ways with them, but I'm pretty sure it was a mutual somewhere in there. But that's my point. Like, Kyle Lowry's more in control, with his feelings and his emotions, and he plays more with the edge on the court. He doesn't really show it like verbally against his teammates and players and coaches, and Rondo has been known for that. And I'm pretty sure Rondo's had some run-ins with Ty Lue as well. We probably just don't know about them because Rondo just can't keep his mouth shut. He's always just been that type of player. But, at the same time, Kyle Lowry has always, now that, over time when I thought about it, Kyle Lowry has always been more of a fit, really, to the Clippers than Rondo, because Kyle Lowry plays more of the style of basketball that would fit the Clippers' repertoire. He plays with an edge, he plays with high IQ, and he's more in control, like I said, of his emotions. He's not an outlandish type guy, but he is a leader type guy, which is good because I always thought he was like the leader for the Raptors. Kawhi was the best player on the Raptors because he was the heart and soul of the Raptors. There's no doubt about it. But my point is, he brought that edge, that toughness, and he brought that defense. He bring that dog in the game. You know what I'm saying? Whoever he was guarding, they were feeling Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry was up in them. And I can tell you, if you look at the first series with the Clippers and the Mavericks, Kyle Lowry on Luka Doncic, I'm not saying Luka wouldn't have had his moments, because he would have, but I don't think he would have killed or cremated Kyle Lowry the way he did Patrick Beverley and whoever else tried to guard him. I just don't think so, because Kyle Lowry plays more pit bullish like defense. He plays more with an edge. And like I said, when you play like that, going against better players, even though we know Luka's a better player than Kyle Lowry, even though you're playing against better players, you're coming at them with the mentality of, I'm getting in your head, I'm getting in your space, and I'm going to make it tough for you all series long. Almost like the way Patrick Beverley did with Devin Booker. He made the series very hard for Devin Booker all series long, which is the reason why that series between the Suns and the Clippers went 6 games instead of like 4 or 5 games. So, I mean, when you look at things like that, those are the type of things that Kyle Lowry can bring to the team, except he's more under control, and he is a starting point guard. It's no doubt about it. Kyle Lowry is not coming off the bench if he plays for the Clippers. Unless he's injured or something like that, that'd be the only way. But if Kyle Lowry is healthy, he's their starting point guard. I mean, really, it's no other way to look at it. I mean, I like Patrick Beverley, but Patrick Beverley plays good off the bench and comes in and knock down a few shots and play high-level defense the way he feels though he can. That would be great. But Kyle Lowry could run the offense exactly the way it needs to be ran. And I can tell you, he would get the ball where Kawhi likes it. He would get the ball where Kawhi needs it. And he would knock down a shot if Kawhi Leonard is in the post and gets double teamed. You give it back to Kyle Lowry. He can knock down that big three if you need it. So there again, all-star type player, a player who's won a championship, a player knows what it's like to be in big moments. Why not? So if you ask me, I would say 2 out of the 3 is really intriguing, which I would go with Danny Green and Kyle Lowry, which is both former teammates of his on the Raptors, who won a championship, by the way. And I wouldn't rule out Patty Mills either, though, because like I said, the Clippers were the best 3-point shooting team this year. So if one of their players left or got traded or anything like that, replacing one of those shooters, pretty much all the players they have were shooters, pretty much. If you replace one of those shooters with Patty Mills, well, you're not missing anything, because Patty Mills can shoot threes as well. He would just add or keep everything the way it was. They wouldn't miss a beat. They would just pick right back up where they left off from the 3-point line. So that would be really good for them, I think. And then, hey, Serge comes back next year. This would be like the Raptors 2.0 if they get at least 2 out of 3 of these possible signings. The Clippers could be right back where they were last season, and they will have more experience. Because I can tell you, if they found a way to add these 3 players with Kawhi and PG, with their IQ and level of basketball and how they play, and they are championship players, the Clippers would be really tough. The Clippers would be probably a better team than they were this year. No doubt about it. Because Kyle Lowry won a championship. Danny Green won several championships. Patty Mills, he's been on championship teams. I think he's won a championship too. But at the same time, even if it doesn't matter. If you play for Greg Popovich at any point in time in your career, you have high IQ basketball intangibles. No doubt about it. You definitely have high IQ basketball intangibles. And that's just the way it is. Because anybody knows when you play for Greg Popovich, he's not going to keep you, or he's not going to play you if you're not going to play to that level. You know what I'm saying? It's just no way. And it's just not in his repertoire to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, oh yeah, and that's right. I was thinking for a second there. Patty Mills did win a championship with the Spurs. I think he won in 2014 championship. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, that's my point. Like when you look at that, it's I don't know. It's really tough. It's really tough to me for them not to go after one of these three players if one of their other players decide to leave or go for more money or trades, because this is where they need to look, and this is where they need to be focused on one of these three players, if not get all three to replace some players on the Clippers. I mean, I will take Kyle Lowry or maybe Danny Green. You know what I'm saying? If they got rid of Luke Kennard or maybe a Reggie Jackson, if they couldn't keep those players, give me Danny Green and Kyle Lowry any day of the week, because they'll definitely make up for what those players have done and what they could have done going forward if they stay on the team. They'll definitely make up for it if they're healthy. I promise you that. So, I mean, hey, that's my take on everything. That's my take on the whole situation. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Any of those three players that intrigue you, or if they don't, let me know. And, hey, we can always talk about it as we always do. And Cali out.